Welcome to the Juice Box with Juice Springsteen, covering the week that was in professional wrestling. And hello, everybody, and welcome to this special edition of the Juice Box. As always, it is a PLE prediction weekend coming off of what we had last month. It seems like it just happened. WrestleMania 41, Night 1, Night 2. We had Justin LaBar. We had Josh Eisenberg. The CSR guys were in. This month, though, Justin's not on the, he's on the main 4 PLE plan. Josh Eisenberg, I believe, is in Florida. So sometimes in life, you have to call the bullpen. And this man has called me from the bullpen many times, and I've been well obliged to do so. And this is his, maybe a way of paying me back, as we normally do old school stuff. I can't believe I'm saying this, but coming into the Juice Box for a current show prediction, the one, the only, Mr. Apron Bump. How are you doing, man?
Stop it. Good. Happy to be here. I mean, does that make me the in your house representative? If he's the big 4, am I like the Doc Hendricks? Well, no, he wasn't really. He commentated one show.
He did commentate. I see. It's hard because Josh Eisenberg is normally the main PLE. Justin does the 4, which will be a combined. Maybe if you're on the like. Here's the thing. I wouldn't even put you in like the Saturday night's main event category because you're above that. Because I've been on your main programs and I've even interviewed you in the SIP series. So at this point, we're pretty well established. So I just think you're coming into the bullpen.
I'm at least like a Mr. Perfect, right? When he was commentating.
You are a. How can I put this? Are you a Mr. Perfect subbing into Survivor Series 92 because of what happened with Savage and Warrior?
I could be.
You just kind of slide into the spot.
Or like
There's plenty of different substitutions we can come up with, but of course
I was going to say Dean Douglas, but that was kind of a different thing. Yeah. Nobody.
Hey, he's from Pittsburgh.
Sailors.
I'm from Pittsburgh.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah, you are Kurt Angle in the Shield.
There we go.
That's it. Yeah.
I know it's probably audio only, but
too bad we're doing audio only for this one. But
just for you,
I saw it. I saw the great. I'm happy to be here. Smile.
Oh, that's one
Kurt
of the
Angle
best
brought.
images of all time.
Absolutely, but man, yeah. Normally we do these things, and it's I've had you on for the SIP series. I got to do a little deep dive into your pro wrestling fandom, which is always great, and I love talking to anybody about that. And you've had me on for multiple WCW shows. I was just on the Great American Bash 97 show that aired yesterday, which is wonderful. It was really cool to discuss that. Anything in 97 was wonderful across the board. We've done WCW, ECW, and WWF. Now I get you on my show, and it's current product prediction. So it's not only just current stuff and what you think, it's what you think could happen and how we see things play forward. So just as a whole, how are you looking at this Backlash? Mind you, the 20th edition of Backlash. I can't believe we've made it to 20, especially with a hiatus in between.
Is it the 20th? Did they not?
Yeah, it's what I'm reading on Wikipedia, and Wikipedia says that it's true.
I was about to say they went before 2005, but I guess they did skip a few years.
Well, that's what crazy. I was saying. There's a split. The last one that happened before they revived it was 2009, and that was the last one that John Cena was in before he is going to be here at this one this weekend. And that was against Edge, last man standing, one of my favorite matches of all time. So just thoughts of Backlash as a whole and what you're thinking looking into this event. The first show since WrestleMania, albeit 3 weeks later.
Yeah, no, it's I'm looking at the card. I think it's like sneaky going to be a good show. Like in this current era of wrestling, at least for WWE, these PLEs with everything baked into Peacock already, it's not like, oh, does this show deserve my $50, $60? It's like, oh, no, it's just another show that's on. That's fine. But looking at the card, I mean, it looks from a work rate, quote unquote, perspective, I think there's some good matches on here. There's some weird ones, but I think the weirdness even lends itself to being interesting. in certain ways. So I think it's going to be an entertaining little watch here this Saturday. So I'm fairly excited for it to sit back and watch this little ditty.
Absolutely. And I feel the same way. I feel like now, even with, maybe some critiques, rightfully so, of the last couple of months with Triple H's booking and how it's been, these non Big Four, or even if you count Money in the Bank, Big Five PLEs have been really strong under the Triple H regime in the 5 to 7 match realm. It's a sweet spot. It's 2.5 to 3 hours, but it's like a tight 3 hours where you really don't feel like, here we go, another intercontinental title match. And that's not to say that those matches don't mean anything, because we're going to have a lot of mid-card matches on this show, or mid-card title matches. But it just seems like in years past, you dreaded Backlash. And now it's like, man, I can't wait for any sort of PLE. You don't know what they're going to bring, because especially with Saturday night's main event now, 3 weeks after this, you have to hide some of that to that show and keep what you want on this PLE. So do you think, just looking at the card as a whole, do you think that they kept what they needed on this PLE without even seeing what's on the next Saturday night's main event, May 24th? Do you think they've had enough on this to, we could save some for the back half and we can give it away for free even?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Cena and Orton is like such a huge match that I think that almost sells itself. But I mean, Becky Lynch is on the card in a title match. Like, I mean, we're gonna go through it, but looking at the card, there's big names on here. And like storyline progressions and like interest, like there's certain matches I'm not really sure where they're gonna go. So ultimately I think, with Saturday night main event and even like the Raws and SmackDowns, they seem to be loading that up, every once in a while. We just had the TLC match a few weeks ago. That was a huge match.
Should have been on WrestleMania.
Yeah. One could argue that it benefits, like, you have to give some love to the TV show, but I'm inclined to agree in general, though. But like I said, there's a lot of good here, and I don't mind them spreading around the wealth in terms of matches, like throughout because you don't want to just be like, sitting on your thumb for 4 weeks waiting for something good to happen. You want to have stuff to kind of chew on and taste a little bit on the way there. So
little bit of juice before you get the whole box. Whole pause.
Oh, you ever have just so many jokes that you don't know which one to go with? I'm just gonna let the audience create their own joke there.
Absolutely, yeah. Choose your own adventure. But you bring up a good point with the TLC match. It's like, you do want to give love to SmackDown and Raw, but we give love to that every single week. There's only one WrestleMania a year. There's only been 41 of them, so that's where that critique of like, you could have put TLC on. It's 2 nights of WrestleMania. No, you really don't think you could have put that in there?
Especially with how Mania went, I think that would have added like a nice texture and a different like kind of match to the show in general.
Yeah, it would have been that, I guess people just say car crash, but it would have been a nice, like, get your gears going, then you can kind of settle them down. Otherwise, you kind of are up and down the whole night. There was really no peak to where you can cool them off before you get them to that main event. So maybe it would have happened better in hindsight, but we deal with the current and what's actually going to happen here. So even though you normally deal with the past.
I'll touch on the current every once in a while, but yeah, in general, I like to hide in my 2007 TNA or whatever I'm talking that week. So.
Oh, hey, I'm looking forward to some TNA with you. That is a company we have not grasped yet, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's a lot of WCW influence in there, but yeah, it's a treat.
Why do you think I like it so much?
Exactly, it's right up your alley. Just two more sides to the ring, and pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. They took that away, added Hulk Hogan and Bischoff. You'd think, oh, I'd like it even more, and they actually ruined it. So.
I'm not looking forward to getting to that in my timeline. Might be what I tap out.
Skip over the I go to something else.
Yeah. Wrestling Society X or whatever company Amanda Storm is wrestling.
You could do mother of God. You could do Lucha. You could do Lucha Underground. You could do even old school NW. You could. You know what I'd like to see? Selfishly, I mean, you started the timeline in what, 94?
Yes.
I think you've let yourself open to a early pay-per-view to 94 set of, like, you could hit WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2, and then you could start doing like Starrcade and hit the pay-per-views as they go and they line up to the back half. I think that's something you probably could tap into.
I am very interested, particularly in early 90s, maybe even late 80s WCW, because that's something that I've like seen at a distance, little clips here and there. It's like, oh, I think I would like that. So definitely something in the future, or even like territory stuff I'd like to do.
Yeah.
In due
When
time.
there's
In due
only
time.
one pay-per-view or two pay-per-views a year, that'd be nice to kind of see
Just
what
roll right through it. Yeah.
this is all they gave you. You better like it. Otherwise, too bad. No TV for you. No 3-hour SmackDown salivate.
I
So,
don't think so.
but let's get into this, man. St. Louis, Missouri is the backdrop. The Arch, of course. The Pirates just got swept by the Cardinals. So everything's going right in St. Louis these days. 5 matches on this show. I mean, it's anchored by a match that I have seen in person on pay-per-view twice, which is saying a lot that I was at 2 separate pay-per-views 5 years apart and saw 2 guys have a one-on-one match, and 11 years later they're still doing it in a it's unbelievable. So we'll touch on that. But five matches here. I think it's a sweet spot. This is recorded before SmackDown airs, so I'm not sure if there's anything else added. I tend to doubt it. Like I said, with Saturday night's main event, WWE has done a real good job of, look, we got a PLE here, we got a special event here, we got a Saudi show here, we got they kind of spread it out throughout the year. So I think everything on here is pretty warranted with 5 matches. Let's get into the first match. I mean, I could say this is a random middle of the road PLE because everybody was like, oh, damn, Backlash, right? Everything on Backlash is going to be what happened in WrestleMania. Not these days. And you get Penta versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. Dom, who perpetually is the biggest heel in the company, no matter where he's at on the card, yet got the biggest reaction, arguably, of the entire WrestleMania weekend by not only winning the title in a fatal 4-way, but coming back out impromptu to get that celebratory pop from the crowd. And I think when he wins the world title, it's going to be a celebration unlike we've ever seen before. But until then, he's still a POS. So he's got to defend against Penta. I don't know, man. Is Penta going to finally win that first singles gold in WWE, or is it still Dom's title?
Well, one thing I'm wondering, you say that Dom is still a POS, but is he though? Or are they going to
the majority? Maybe.
Maybe I haven't really noticed because obviously, like you mentioned, he got those huge cheers at WrestleMania. Is he still kind of getting those reactions though? Maybe probably not to that magnitude, but
not to the magnitude. I would say, yeah, I would agree. I would say he's probably teetering on tweener, if not. Look, I'm a heel, and if they cheer me, I'm just going to ignore it or tell them that they don't know what they're talking about. Where he's almost at that cool heel phase of like Kevin Owens when he first kind of came in, and Dom is, God, his dad's been in the business forever. He's been in the business and around it forever. I think he's going to realize, I'm going to not let this take over. I am a heel. Hate me, damn it. And he can find ways. He's with Liv Morgan. There's definitely ways to get that. But in this match, he's definitively going to be booed because people want Penta. People love Penta. He's got this new theme with the guitarist from Tool. So ultimately, what do you think happens in this match?
Yeah, no, I think first of all, I think it's going to be one of Dom's best matches he's had. I don't know if he's had many one-on-one matches on pay-per-view. I know he had that NXT match with Dragon Lee.
I'm not sure either, to be honest with you.
Has he ever had a one-on-one match on pay-per-view or PLE?
Solo. Keep talking. I'll do some research here.
But either way, I mean, Penta is obviously a great dance partner to have. I'm so happy with how well Penta has connected to the audience, like in a surprising way. Because it's always, the age-old thing with WWE. You get these people, the language barrier can be a hindrance, but he came out on his debut, hooked the audience with a pretty, not lengthy promo, but a substantial promo. His energy is like infectious. I think he's built for WWE. And I think there's a good chance he could walk out of here with the Intercontinental title. I do question, though, would they cut Dom's reign this short, which isn't out of the realm of possibility.
No, never with WWE.
To be honest, I think this whole thing hinges on Finn Balor and where that story, do we get the pivot here or do they draw it out more? I think it's inevitable that Finn turns on Dom at some point. The question is it here or not? Is it effective? Does he cost Dom the title here? I'm inclined to think that Dominic gets like a cheeky victory here, whether that's I think maybe we have a situation where Finn maybe helps Dom here, but Dom doesn't want his help. Like one of those situations. So we have like a little tension, but Dom ultimately walks out champion. Judgment Day is still intact, maybe held together by band-aids. I think it's gonna be a great match. This screams opening match, just get the crowd hot type of thing.
Yeah.
I got Dom winning this, but this is probably one of the shakier predictions on my list.
I don't have any notes in front of me. I am just reading and kind of going off what I want, and yet you pretty much outlined exactly what I was going to say of Dom's going to retain, but I think it's going to be a case of Finn either wants to help legit or he's being cheeky and like, oh, I'm going to help my friend Dom, knowing Dom's going to say, get the hell out of here. I don't want your help. I don't need your help. I won this title by beating you. What do you want? And it's going to cause a rift. And there, you know, you might get that one-on-one. Now to your point, I'm looking right now outside of, man, I completely forgot about this. Trick Williams defeated Dom for the North American title with Dragon Lee as the referee, of course, at No Mercy in 2023, but I was still NXT. Before that, though, of course, Mania 39, night one, Ray defeated Dom, and then Money in the Bank 2023, Cody defeated Dom.
Oh, wow, yeah. And also the Seth Rollins match from, like, it was like one of his first match. I think it was his first singles match. I think that was on a PLE.
SummerSlam 2020. So COVID. Yeah.
So very few though to be
few and far between. Yeah, he's been doing tags or multi-person matches, but man, I tend to agree with you. And it's funny because anytime I'm with Josh, you know, maybe we always kind of try to predict things and we're always real off. Like we predicted Damian Priest was going to cash in Money in the Bank almost every single PLE for like 5.
I think everybody was kind of with you though, yeah.
You know, and then it's like, oh well, eventually it happens. And then with Justin, it's anywhere, man. He's on Busted Open. He's on a whole nother level. So I never know where he's thinking. And we were all three of us on the same page when it came to WrestleMania. So it'll be interesting to see where you and I line up here. But I tend to agree. I think Dom and the IC title have a long relationship forthcoming, and it's not going to hurt Penta to lose, especially if it's by, you know, Finn interference, chicanery, a dusted finish, baby. So you don't know what's going to happen. But I like that Penta is not only thrived in WWE, he's already gotten a lot of opportunities, 5 months in? I remember him debuting, but they aren't tapping into him and Ray Phoenix yet. I'm glad they're both there, and I'm glad they're both singles, and I'm glad they're both on separate brands. And it's going to make them tagging that much better. What do you think? Do you think that it's better that they spread it out?
I've always been of the opinion that I think Penta and Phoenix are stronger without each other than with each other. It's just
which
going
is
back
saying
to
a lot
Underground.
Considering they're brothers.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I don't know. I think I don't want to sound too harsh. I almost think they bring out the worst of each other when they're in a tag team, because I think no one can be definitive. It's like they're both damn good, but you put them together, it's not always peanut butter and jelly. Right. Yeah, that's actually a good way to put it. That they're not. Yeah, to your point, you can't really differentiate between the two. It's like, here's this lucha tag team, whereas Penta is Penta. Like there's nobody like Penta on the roster. Phoenix, there's a few guys like Phoenix, but Phoenix is still great. And I think I'd like to see them stay separate as long as possible. Maybe have they come together for a little bit, then maybe go back their separate ways or whatever the case is. It is, you know, who knows what will happen between now and then. But I do enjoy them on separate brands at this point for sure. I'm still skeptical on Phoenix and what his future holds. It just feels like WWE has gotten a lot of these guys over the years and hasn't really gotten them right, because I think Penta has this charisma to him that
he can outlive the development issues that WWE might have sometimes with creating new stars, even if they were already established.
Exactly, yeah, and he's already shown that he could, you know, like that language barrier I was talking about. I mean, he could
first night
beyond that. So, no, yeah, but happy to see both these guys. Happy like Phoenix gets a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. Penta's in the title match at WrestleMania. It's good to see both these guys having success in their own ways already.
I would even be cool with them doing a little like respect one-on-one match before they ever become a tag team. And then you can eventually, of course, play that out into a disrespect one-on-one. If they play their cards right, they can do it.
I do like them facing each other. It's when they're tagging together, which I don't mind.
That's the problem.
But I prefer that I'd rather them face each other than team together. It's like that's even fair. Back to Lucha Underground. I think the stuff they did, I don't even think they ever like identified that they were brothers in Lucha Underground. I could be wrong, but they faced each other a bunch, and that was my introduction to both of them, and they've both grown since then. So it'd be cool to see it on the main stage of WWE for sure.
Absolutely, and I think as long as they just kind of stay relevant and don't get shuffled back, I have no faith or no reason to think that Penta will. But Rey Fenix, to your point, however, even if we kind of agree that maybe they're not perfect as a tag team because of how it's tough to differentiate, and maybe if anything, it's like their dance partners elevate them as a tag team. You know, whoever they face will make them look great, even if they don't mesh perfectly. It's like if Penta sticks to such a level there. And this is not a knock on Phoenix, but it's like, well, if Penta's doing so hot, but we don't know what to do with Phoenix, but we can't get rid of Phoenix because Penta's doing so damn well. Like maybe that'll elevate him and keep him around. But I think Phoenix can do enough and prove it enough on his own to do that. But
yeah, it's kind of like almost like the Usos, like how each of them has kind of carved their own path.
It's like Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah. But like when they teamed together a while ago, I forget if it was like a SmackDown or whatever. But it felt like a big deal when that happened, and they still like had the chemistry as partners. So I feel like you could see a similar path with the Lucha Bros.
Don't get me started. Get me Usos versus Lucha Bros.
Yeah, serve that up to me and I will gobble it up.
How about give me Jey Uso versus Penta as like a slated match, and then in between that, you could have them as a look. I don't really tag with Jimmy anymore, but you don't really tag with Ray anymore. Let's do it one night only. How about that?
Yeah. Hey, make it an eliminator match, Jay versus Penta. Huh? Or all four of those guys. Make it a 4-way eliminator.
Tony won, by the way.
Oh, well. Sucks to be those other three jobbers.
I told you. There's no jobbers here in the World Wrestling Federation.
Oh, anything can happen.
So let's get to the fatal 4-way match for the U.S. title, shall we? So we both think Dom's going to take the IC and retain.
Yeah. I think so.
I think that's fair. Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. The back half of this have been intertwined with the world title for over a year and a half. LA Knight has been on fire and more popular than ever in the last 2 years. And Jacob Fatu, in shorter amount of time than all three of those guys, has gotten super popular, even though he's a bad guy. Usurped Solo Sikoa as the main next guy in the bloodline and has won a championship all in that time frame. So now he's on a fatal 4-way path here, defending against these three guys. Man, and this is where, if this was a couple of months down the line, I'd say Jacob will lose the title, but he won't get pinned. I don't think Jacob's losing the title yet. I think he's going to pin someone. I don't know who that is yet, because Damian and Drew still seem like they're on the up and up. And I hate for LA Knight to take the loss here too, because I think, you know what? I'm going to say it. I'm going to say Jacob Fatu pins LA Knight because they've had this history. And I think it lends itself to a potential LA Knight Money in the Bank run, because those guys that win that briefcase are either on a losing streak, in not every year, but it's like they're on a losing streak, or if you forget about them, but they're in this match. Don't forget about them. So I'm taking Jacob Fatu to retain. What say you about the four guys as a whole and the ascent of Jacob Fatu?
Yeah, well, as far as this match, I think it's going to be a beautiful, chaotic match. Just look at, Fatu, Drew, LA Knight, Damian Priest. I think it's going to be just balls to the wall. I mean, some people don't like these multi-man matches. I tend to love them just because I like the car crash element of them. Fatu, I have Fatu winning this. I think I feel like there's like two main flavors of champions. There's one where it's like maybe even like a Dominic Mysterio, where like the title's almost like a means to tell a story and might not be to a stat. Like I don't see Dom having like a long reign or anything with so many like a lot of defenses.
Right.
Whereas Jacob Fatu, I feel like more as a champion that's going to be racking up title defenses. I think I see him being champion for a very long time. Him calling America's Most Wanted, like that's so badass.
It's
The
great.
U.S. title. I mean, just on top of all the other stuff that he does, his presentation's been flawless. Very similar to Penta. I'm stoked to see how Jacob Fatu has translated to WWE just flawlessly. And I have him winning here. I think we're at the beginning of a long reign. I feel like we still have the solo thing looming, which similar to the Finn and Dom thing. I feel like that is a thing that is ever present in this match too. I don't think we see Solo turning on Fatu here, but I don't even know. Maybe Solo doesn't have his presence here because he wasn't with Jacob at WrestleMania, so maybe he won't be there.
True.
I do think maybe there's more legs to the Drew and LA Knight feud. I think that kind of progresses through this match. I could see Fatu pinning Damian Priest here, but
I
whatever the
almost
case
said that
is, yeah.
first. I almost said that first, the Priest kind of being the odd man out because of the Drew and LA Knight thing. But then it
Yeah.
begs the question of where do those guys go? I'm always curious as to, like, sure, we predict these matches and what'll happen, but I'm almost more excited and interested in what is next for any of the guys in the match. Like, what do they
Yeah.
have next? Because to me, sometimes it looks like they have nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's gonna be like a draft of some sort coming up, maybe shaking
I
some
don't know.
things up, but don't know. But your LA Knight theory on Money in the Bank is interesting. I don't hate it. I want to see LA Knight as a heel, and I know he's very popular, but
Yeah. It's almost time, I think. I think you're on something. It's like
I'm
Cody in a way. Like everybody loves
yeah.
him, but you know he'll be a good heel, but just when do you pull that trigger? And I think LA Knight's been a baby face on not on top, but one of the top baby faces for almost 2 years now. So
Yeah, and he still gets good reactions. I think he's kind of in the middle of the pack right now. Whereas I feel like if he were to switch heel, I think he could rise above and really be spectacular. And like imagine he cashes in on like Jey Uso or something, like instant
that's
heat.
automatic heat, yeah.
I mean, just the thought of LA Knight with that world title, I think it would fit him like a glove, just aesthetically. So, and it'd be a fresh jolt to that world. Now you also got Seth and stuff in that scene, so who knows?
Yeah, true. But I think, and again, this is not a knock on Jey Uso, but not a lot of people thought he would win the Rumble. Not a lot of people thought he'd win the world title. So I think it opens up that same with Rey Mysterio way back when. And I know that, a lot had to do with Eddie passing and the timing of it all, but Rey Mysterio winning the world title when he did against the guys that he did, Orton and Angle, it opened the door for damn near everyone that was not your traditional big time guy to win. Your Bryan Danielsons, your Daniel Bryan, your Kofi's, just anybody that's undersized or just not thought of. So Jey Uso winning the title, even though, he might be in a bigger stature, of course. I don't, I might not be able to see LA Knight win the title unless a guy like Jey Uso can do it. So,
right. So, yeah, no, it's very, very, yeah, like you said, interesting stuff coming. I guess Money in the Bank's the next pay per view after this, right? Is it June?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, man. Well, yeah, it's going to be actually a longer run, I think, between Backlash and Money in the Bank than Mania was to Backlash, because Mania was 4/19 and 4/20, and this is May 10th, and June 7th is Money in the Bank. So it's practically a month full when it wasn't for this. So, yeah, you might. There you go. Outside of LA Knight, do you think there's anybody else that might tickle your fancy in regards to who could win it? Because the only other person I could think of is Killer Cross, if he switches to Killer Cross, which looks like could happen.
I think he might be the front runner, at least in terms of popularity, to win that match. I could see an LA Knight win it. There's also, you could have like a Seth Rollins win it, or a Braun Breaker. I don't know. There's all it's up in the air. I really haven't really thought about it that much, which is I'd kind of like to keep it that way because I have really no expectations. But Killer Cross would be like that'd be a cool thing to see him like. how he would work carrying around that briefcase and threatening people that he's going to cash it in. I think it just fits his like mystique so well. So, no, it'd be cool to see.
I agree. And you know what else would be cool to see
Tell me.
is Becky Lynch as this in between character. Because I put out a poll and it was overwhelmingly yes. I say overwhelmingly, it was like 65-35. But is Becky Lynch as a heel working for you? Because I'm in between on it, to be quite honest with you. I like that they like are again giving it a new direction, albeit immediate since she returned. Like, let's just pull the trigger on this. It's just tough for me to think of it as big as it could have been when Cena is doing arguably the same thing. Like, Cena's got this last run, so there's no other way it could have ever happened past this year. So he did it. And Becky's been gone for a while, and people were questioning, is she ever going to come back? She comes back as a babyface, and then the next time we see her, she's a heel. So both of them at the same time is tough for me to grasp as like, maybe believable is the wrong term to go with, but it's just like, it feels as if they have to try extra hard for me to buy that they are heels because they are so beloved. So Lyra versus Becky Lynch, and damn it, Lyra's theme song is over like Rover with me. Woo! So exactly. It's
she's so taking the woo away from Ric Flair. You heard it here first, folks.
That's right. And Becky Lynch took away the man. So Ric Flair has been cucked by this entire match.
I love that lore. I love that lore behind this match. No, I mean the match. I mean they've wrestled each other a few times in NXT, and those were just incredible matches. So I have no doubt bell to bell is going to be awesome. This might be, I don't know, the most shaky prediction for me because like I want Lyra to win. I think she's a perfect example of an intercontinental champion. I think she represents what that title could be and should be, in my opinion. I think she's great in the ring. I think she's gaining. I think this Becky feud is gaining her steam as a character. I feel like she's getting over. I mean, this is just 101 veteran getting a new person over.
Absolutely.
I feel like this is going to be a series of matches, and I think maybe the first step in that series is Becky taking the title from her.
So that it's ultimately the chase, because I've said this before too. It sucks, but it's like you want your this person or that person to get the title. Damn it, it'll be so great, and then they get it, and very few and far between does it really satisfy what happened. And I just brought up Bryan and Kofi, and their title reigns, as great as it was to get there, were kind of lackluster, whether an injury or a 5-second loss to Brock Lesnar on national TV. Right. It's the chase. The chase is what's better. So I kind of agree. If Lyra loses it immediately and they build this, she could come back and get her title back later on. So keep going.
Yeah. No. That's pretty much what I agree with that sentiment. But like, yeah, I mean, the chase is good, and I think ultimately, I mean, it elevates the women's IC title. It elevates Lyra. And I feel like, I think the difference between this and like a Bryan or Dana or like a Kofi Kingston type of title reign is that like the world champion, you need to be like the face of the company.
For sure.
Your character work has to be there. You have to be in compelling stories. You're the flag bearer. You're what people tune in for. Whereas like, I don't like to really use mid-card title, but
sure, but it is. I don't think it's as detrimental as it used to be, because they're literally making titles so that it doesn't seem negative.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I feel like an IC champion or a US champion, you can kind of just hinge on having good matches on TV, which Lyra has been. I feel like that pace has been good so far, and I think she can just continue doing what she's doing and be successful. But I think this Becky Lynch feud adds a much needed layer to her as far as like getting the crowd invested in her, letting her speak on the mic. Finally, it feels like she hasn't had much chance to really talk on the mic, and she has something to sink her teeth into with Becky, how they go back to their Ireland days. I will say, to your point, I do kind of agree with you in terms of like not believing in Becky Lynch, this iteration of her character, especially with this is probably just a me problem. When I'm watching these two have duels on the mic with each other, To me, it's just like, oh, they're working together to try to get Lyra over. Like it's all like they're friends trying to make like a good feud. But and I know that's just douchey guy that like knows all the ins, well, or doesn't know all the ins, but like is just in tune with the online, the scuttlebutt, the dirt
Yeah.
sheet, whatever the hell. But like, I still think ultimately it will benefit Lyra tremendously. I think it already has.
I think you're on with that. It's when I watch Becky, it does. It feels like I know what I need to do to get this person over. I need to be this bad, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I initially felt with Cena in his first couple of promos with Cody before WrestleMania. It was like you turned heel. It was the biggest thing ever, but like I need more story behind it. I don't need
It's
you to
flimsy.
I don't need you to continuously be like, I'm a heel, this is what I'm doing.
It
Like,
feels very like heel 101. Like you're
yeah.
learning how to be a heel. Like especially with Becky Lynch, who's shown that she can be so much more. I agree with your sentiment.
Yeah, Becky, especially whenever her the biggest moment she's ever had was when it was an accident and she turned it into a tweener. She became the Steve Austin. She became the man. She was bigger than heel or face dynamics and became the biggest star and main evented WrestleMania, the last one night WrestleMania with women. Like
Yeah.
that took her to stratospheres that we haven't seen. So this seems almost forced, you know?
Does she align with Seth?
They've been like throwing around, like, I don't know, maybe add a who's the Medusa going to be of the Dangerous Alliance? And it's like, okay. And I can get on board with that if they find the right woman for it. Becky would be interesting because of the direct dynamic. Because immediately what I'm thinking is like Marina Shafir, because that's currently going on. Like she's the woman, badass for the Death Riders. And to me, I would want someone that's not Becky to be that for Seth and Braun because it would be too familiar and it would just be too. They've done the Becky and Seth teaming thing when she got End of Days by Baron Corbin. Like I've seen them tag, and that was like cute. If they didn't ever do that, I would believe like Becky could be a badass bad guy with Seth regardless. But now I've seen it. I'm like, I don't know. Again, I don't know if I believe that.
Well, they were a babyface team when they teamed together, so maybe this new dynamic could add something to it.
Maybe, but to me, Seth is done a good job as a heel now, and he's been a heel before. That's where he already was with the Authority. He's done this. Becky's not done that before, and it's like I don't know if she's ready to not only be a heel now, but be a heel with the top program, who also happens to be her husband.
But is it a good thing? Is it a good thing that she hasn't done that before? Maybe give her a new role to fill, something like a new flavor of Becky.
I'm open. I'm open to it. I just don't know if I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it to believe it. To be honest with you, and I'm going to put this out now that it's still not official yet, which I don't know what the hell they're waiting for. But let's say Becky wins it. What's your pick? Do you think Becky wins this?
I'm gonna say Becky, but yeah, I'm just gonna say Becky. Yeah.
Let's say Becky wins this. You got Money in the Bank. You have a Saturday night's main event. You have, didn't they say in June is something in Saudi? Is it Night of Champions? So this title would be on the line there. The following show, which has still not been announced, should be Evolution 2. And if that show happens, what better way for, I'm going to use some real, Zoomer language here. It would be really apropos for Lyra to get her lick back and defeat Becky to win that title at a show like Evolution. Because even if it happens at any other PLE, I think at a women's only PLE, it would mean more for Lyra to beat this legend like Becky Lynch to win the title back. And then you almost get that respect. I don't know. I think that's where it could lead because I hate this. We're in agreement again. I think Becky could win this here, but to me, traditionally, I would have Lyra win. But to my point of where do they go next, that's where I have to side with you because I don't see Lyra retaining this. And then what? Maybe Becky loses it and has to join Braun and Seth and Paul. But outside of that,
Braun spears Lyra into oblivion, and then Becky takes the title. I know that's where you were going, and I like it.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. How'd you know
Yeah.
that? But yeah, it's like if that doesn't happen, if Becky loses and she doesn't join them, then it's like, well, this entire return was a waste. Like she just came back, so she has to stick as a heel. So I think you're right. I think she's gonna take this title from Lyra.
Yeah,
And it
no,
elevates the IC title because this is a relatively new title.
I think ultimately, like, that's the main takeaway from this is that it elevates that title, which I think is a good thing. So, like, whatever way they go. But I tend to agree with you as far as Becky and her loose. Still really don't know why she's a heel, really.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe there is a master plan. Like literally, if she decides I had to be this person because of A, B, or C, it would make more sense for her to join with the Uber group then, because her as a heel alone doesn't. Unless she's just winning titles, it doesn't mean anything. Like,
no, I also thought there was a master plan with Cena and Rock and stuff, and ended up not being. So
I know. I don't know what the hell they're doing up there.
Pessimist in terms of them having a higher plan, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Well, didn't Wade Barrett back in the Nexus 2010 run say there's always the bigger picture? And they never like paid that off. He never won the world title, and Cena defeated Nexus practically on his own at the commentary desk.
Got some bad news.
The plan is now.
By the way, we are very close to having, I guess maybe technically we already do, have all of the League of Nations back on the roster.
Oh my God. Wow.
So, I mean, come on, guys. Let's get the band back together. Let's try this
Wait. And that's how you get The Rock back.
See?
Because wasn't it Shawn and Mick Foley and Steve Austin that came out to fight them at Mania 32?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Shawn came out like his tights, and everybody thought he was going to have a match, and it was just a dumb little...
that was my first WrestleMania, and I'll never forget it. But that, and then The Rock lighting his own name on fire to beat Eric Rowan in 6 seconds. So maybe they combine those, and maybe that's how you get The Rock back.
It was their plan all along.
Nations. Long-term booking. Who said Triple H didn't have a handle on what's going on in pro wrestling?
No. What we do here, guys.
Oh, I can't wait for God. The PLE press conferences. Let me tell you what.
Set a new record for Gate. Yeah, I know we just fired a lot of people, but the Gate, everybody, guys. What do we do here?
That should be your. I know you like doing the like Jim Johnston Def Rebel bits, but that right there, that should be your next bit by 1,000 miles. I'm serious, and your mic setup right there is pretty perfect to how they do it. You make a fake background of come up with some phony PLE name. Right. And then you can ask yourself the questions, but you have to ask what some of the people ask, which are like kayfabe only questions or like questions about things you'll never talk about. I think you could do something there.
We'll note it down. We'll figure it out. We'll do something. I'll give you credit.
I was gonna say I don't really need credit. I just want to see it.
I'll put I'll have like a juice, like a high C in front of me, so it's like a little nod to you. Yeah.
Because Punk had muffins famously. And then I know like they've had different things at certain press conferences before. That would be perfect. That would be the little like the Easter egg is having a juice box there.
Stop, guys. Look here. So, all right. So,
and you're Triple H. You talking about the Gate was like perfect. That's pretty good.
$1 billion Netflix deal. WWE's on fire, guys. All right.
Fire. Yeah, it is. It's very. I
need to smoke a cigar beforehand or something.
Speaking of smoking on that cigar, I think Gunther's going to smoke the hell out of the cigar that is Pat McAfee, which I have already dubbed in leading up to this what could be the greatest squash match in the history of professional wrestling. Gunther, Pat McAfee. Gunther is the wrestler's wrestler. He's the wrestler's wrestler. Pat McAfee is not. However, I did see on Stephanie's Places, he said that wrestling is kind of what created him. Like, that's why he is what he is. That's why he is so big and can do these certain things. Like, the whole Big Night Out production was a WWE thing. Like, it was very WWE. How he presents himself even on College Game Day, which is a football program.
He's pro wrestler at his core. Yeah.
He's a pro wrestler. So like, I love that. And he's done the match with Adam Cole. God, he did War Games, for God's sake. So Pat McAfee's done a lot thus far. He even took a stunner from Steve Austin and had a god-awful match involving Vince McMahon in Theory and all that. We won't even talk about it. But now he gets the ring general, and Gunther is not sparing any moment to kill him in this, I don't think. And I personally think, the original plan for this was Gunther taking out Michael Cole, and that was because Michael Cole unintentionally buried the juice box at WrestleMania. And Gunther said, look, pal, I like juice. Capri Sun, High C, Minute Maid. They stole the juice box from Juice. That's what I heard him say. He didn't have to say it. His actions spoke louder than words, and he choked out Michael Cole. Pat McAfee saved the day, but will he save himself? Two-pronged question here. Who do you have winning? And I can't believe I'm saying this, but whether it happens at this show or because of the result of this match, does this match have some sort of butterfly effect with the man they call Goldberg?
Oh,
told
man.
you I'd bring 1997 WCW into this.
You got it. Man. So I think it's crazy. I don't think there's zero chance that Pat wins this. I don't think he will, but it's a non-zero chance that he does.
It's also not no DQ. So like he has to beat him legit if he's going to beat him. Well, I guess a DQ, but he ain't beating him clean is what I'm getting at.
Well, Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar was also not a no DQ match, and Goldberg still made his presence felt there. And
I was going to say, what are you talking about?
So it all comes back around.
Sure.
So ultimately, I think Gunther has to win. Not only does he needs to do more than win. He needs, because when Pat called him soft on Raw, it's at that point where it's like, I will accept nothing else but him bloodying Pat McAfee. Maybe like 10 power bombs to the point where he's coughing up blood. Maybe slice him up like he did Jimmy. Beat him all around the ring, outside of the ring, into the posts. Break his fingers on the steps. Throw him over the commentary's table with the blood splashing all over Michael Cole. Making Michael Cole watch him, bludgeon him right in front of his face. Getting his blood all over his mic and his whatever the hell. Get him back in the ring, choke him out, bing, bang, boom. Gunther walks out with Pat's blood all over him and goes off to do whatever he does next. I feel like if that is what happens, I feel like this whole feud, if you want to call it, is a net positive for Gunther, because I think that's like kind of the one thing Gunther's been missing up to this point is something tangible to grab onto as far as like being a bad guy. Because like as of right now, he's like this guy that has good matches. And I think he needs a little extra zest. And I think he's already gotten that with him threatening Michael Cole and choking out Pat on Raw. I feel like the crowd is already responding to him more now than they ever have. So I think it's been good so far. But yeah, as far as the match goes, yeah, I mean, it's an easy answer, but yeah, Gunther has to win this.
I agree with pretty much every syllable and half syllable you put out there. I think Gunther needs an edge, right?
Yes,
you're 100% dead on, or no, he needs cope. Oh, excuse me, wrong company. So he needs to have that little extra thing just so people realize, look, you liked him because he was a badass that murdered people and won matches, but now you like him because he's a good wrestler, and that's not what they want. So to course correct the fans, again, with a Dom Mysterio, like a cool heel, Gunther does not want that. And I don't think WWE wants that. And this is how they're presenting it. And I'm not going to sit here and act like Pat McAfee hasn't cut arguably the best promos that any of the roster has been cutting in the last few weeks. He's been on fire. And that's another testament to how good he is. He was a pro football punter. He didn't have any microphone ability. Like he didn't have anything that was like that. He was a broadcaster. He wasn't that. He was never anything like this. He just started doing this and he got really good at it. He is a natural in that way. And I think it doesn't hurt Gunther to beat Pat, a guy he's going to be a foe, but he's not a pro wrestler. He's not Jay. He's not a true pro wrestler. So it's not going to hurt Gunther to beat this guy's ass. And I don't think it's going to hurt Pat for falling on the sword, defending the honor of his best friend Michael Cole and making himself look like a badass, getting his ass beat, pillar to post, probably choked out with blood going down his face, and he never submitted. Like, he could say that. Like, there's plenty of angles to this to make everybody involved stronger, more popular, beloved. And if it happens how we're talking, I don't want to see Pat McAfee on TV for a very long time. And I know this would be way better if it happened a little bit towards the fall, because that's when Pat is on game day and he's going to be needed more in that realm. Look, maybe they do that and he's gone for a while, and maybe that's how they do it so early, but I don't see it. I do think this is a Gunther squash, for lack of a better term. But I'm looking forward to it. I think your point with Jimmy as well is spot on. Like, show Michael Cole, like, I'm no one to mess with. I'm going to prove that Pat McAfee is not supposed to be doing this. Sit behind the desk, shut your mouth, let the ring general do this. You can be the commentary general, whatever. But I do expect some offense. I expect some, like, Gunther being shocked that, are you kidding me? Is this really happening? Because he
underestimated him. Yeah.
Can he pull this off? So I'm looking forward to it, maybe as much as anything on the show, purely from this could go great or not standpoint. Right. And I don't think even if it went terribly, it would be bad. It would just be like, well, you put a spot on this show for Gunther and Pat McAfee, and it wasn't what they anticipated, but I was still entertained. So
that entertain is the word. I think this will be entertaining no matter how it goes. I agree. I do think Pat will get a little bit of offense in just at the beginning, to your point, kind of shocking Gunther, but I think he'll cut him off at some point, and then it's just a slow beatdown, which kind of looking forward to.
You think Pat McAfee hits the brainbuster on Gunther on the top? I can't even say it without laughing. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, the technical wrestling, his chain wrestling is going to be off the chain, Canadian Destroyer, Tombstone, all that stuff that Pat does.
He can make it an American Destroyer because he's very pro-American. Remember, he shunned Canada for how dare they boo the national anthem, and then he apologized for that. So now he can get that back by hitting the American Destroyer.
It's crazy how that, like, dynamic has switched over the years. I was just watching a 2004 SmackDown earlier, and Cena comes out and confronts Rene Dupree, and he's like, you're French, and the crowd boos. And that's like all you needed. Now it's like the crowd's almost on the opposite. Like, who are you, American? Why are we Americans? Why would we shun the foreigner? Kind of. So
you have to shun them for their in-ring ability or something they've done to you. You can't use things that they were born with, unfortunately. Well, that's 2025. Is it where we are?
Sure.
But you think you and I are pretty much in agreement, though? You think Gunther's taking this lock, stock, and barrel?
Yeah, I think so. I got to. I don't, like I said, it's just enough of a chance that he loses where I'm going to be locked in. But hopefully Gunther wins this one.
So let's get to the second part where I mentioned Goldberg. Let's flip this on if it happens during this match. I don't know. Could a theme song hit and distract Gunther? Like, what way? Tell me how you would book Pat McAfee to win this match without it not being DQ, without making Gunther look terrible. Would it have to be an interference like that?
Yeah, I guess like a fluky roll-up type of situation, you could.
Oh, man, a roll-up though. Gunther's a massive man. He's not Ray.
Well, when him and Pat were in the ring with each other, the size discrepancy isn't that much. Like, Pat's also a pretty big dude, and Gunther's like, I mean, he has like big hands. Like, he's just a broadly built guy, but I mean, he's like a slender kind of guy at this point. So it's like they're not that different in size, really.
Oh, well, clean win.
You know what? Just have Pat go in there, brainbuster, bing, bang, boom, knock him out.
I said squash match, but I didn't say who was squashing who.
PA Survivor Series, what was it, 2016 situation? Just shock him right out the gate.
The name of the winner of the squash did say someone.
You trying to think of the letters that were the similar?
Because they're not the same. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
didn't
know.
Say McAfee.
No.
Yeah, I'm intrigued though, but I got to be honest. As intrigued as I am by that, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but a match that I've seen feels like 1,000 times, and the fans have seen 1,000 times. And at a point, if you said this match was going to happen so many years later for the world title again, a lot of fans would go, what? Are you serious? Is Vince still in charge? And they were close because he was only been out of charge for 2 or 3 years now. But we are getting John Cena versus Randy Orton one last time. It didn't say once in a lifetime, so I do think this is the last one, because if it was once in a lifetime, we'd be getting at least 2.
Right.
In St. Louis, Randy Orton's hometown. I saw these two one-on-one, bragging rights 2009, 60-minute Iron Man match, 6'5" Cena, incredibly entertaining. It has the meme of Orton going to the production area and hitting all those buttons, trying to blow up Cena on the entrance.
2009 Orton was a menace. Am I right? Am I wrong, everybody?
Hey, that's another part of the meme of 09 Orton versus 100 gorillas, or 1 gorilla. You know, it could be 100. Yeah. I think he could punt every single one of them. So seeing that match live, and then 5 years later, seeing Orton Cena again for the undisputed WWE title at Royal Rumble 2014, I couldn't believe it was happening again. I am looking forward to this. It's a crazy dynamic. This is the best part. The crazy dynamic is that not only is Orton in his hometown for this, but he is the standing babyface anyway. Cena is the heel in this huge match. Orton's not going to win ultimately, I don't think. I think Cena's going to take this. Look, he said he's going to ruin wrestling, and I posited the other day that wouldn't it be fun if they redid the No Way Out 2008 finish, where Randy Orton did whatever he could to stay alive, and he did win at WrestleMania 24, which is even crazier. But to knock Cena's Royal Rumble win opportunity out the window, he slapped the referee in the face and got an immediate disqualification. And I said, what if Cena, who really said he wants to ruin wrestling, did that? And some people liked it. Some people said I might change the channel. So I don't know what you think, man, but I'm looking forward to this match. And we'll talk about intricacies of what will happen certain ways, but just from a pure match standpoint, Orton Cena in 2025 for the world title, main eventing a pay-per-view Backlash. What time capsule are we in, man?
This is gonna be one of those matches where if you watch it on mute, you're not gonna enjoy it. But
so Hogan Rock people. Mania 18.
Yes, it is. I mean, CM Punk, John Cena. I mean, not that it was a bad match, but it's just the vibes of the match, like in terms of Cena being hella booed. I mean, maybe not quite to the extent of One Night Stand with RVD, but maybe. I think this match is going to be fueled on vibes. I don't think this is going to be the greatest, like, catch can, whatever.
The greatest match ever?
No, that already happened, remember.
At another
also Backlash. There we go. Not even the best Backlash match of all time, I guess. So,
no.
I think, like, Cena and Orton, they got their shtick. It'll be fine, I guess. I don't... You brought up the Royal Rumble match, which was actually, I watched that kind of recently. It was a very good match that kind of was hijacked by the crowd, which kind of hindered it ultimately. But
I know, we were pissed.
So it was your fault, actually.
Everything that night sucked, other than the first match, which was Bryan and Bray. But when Bryan wasn't number 30 and it was Rey Mysterio, we said, you know what? I don't think I want to watch this anymore. And then CM Punk quit the next day, and everything was changed forever.
Is that the same show where, like, Brock Lesnar just beat up Big Show for like 20 minutes with a steel chair?
Yes, and if you watch that match back, where he's hitting him and where they have a lot of that action, I am the floor, but I'm the corner floor, and I put up my YouTube sign for my previous YouTube channel's name over and over again, and you can't not see it. People, even as recently as a couple years ago, I think people like would comment and be like, "Hey, like, I saw your sign at the Royal Rumble 2014. I'm like, why are you still watching this, let alone that match?
You tune in for Bray and Bryan, but yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we ruined it, but go ahead.
Yes, I think this will be there's one of those matches where you either love it or hate it. Like, it's going to be an experience. I don't think the second to second action as far as the physicality is going to be anything out of this world. But it is the different dynamic, like you mentioned, that we've seen. It's been flipped. It's going to be a whole new pan of code on this. And I mean, Orton in St. Louis, him. I mean, Orton's. I love watching Randy Orton right now. I think he's just in a stage of his career where he's just messing around. He's just having fun, and I think he's going to thrive in this atmosphere. And Cena, I didn't hate the match at WrestleMania as much as a lot of people did. I don't think he's a great heel worker, but I think him and Orton, I mean, they have the innate chemistry. So I think, like I said, this is going to be a vibes match, but I think ultimately it's going to be fun.
I think this whole Cena retirement tour should lean on vibes and the crowd and not in-ring stuff, because WrestleMania didn't work to the extent that I think they wanted it to. For whatever reason, Dwayne, that you want to give it, it didn't work to that extent. So if you're going to get Cena Orton again, I pray we get Cena Punk again. If they're going to do some of these again, just lean into what that was and what it is now in the moment. That sells the match, that sells the crowd, it sells the PLE, and then you can get away with a finish that might not be the best, but you got to see those two again one more time. So I kind of agree with that.
I would like to see that slap spot. I wouldn't like to see it end the match. I wouldn't like to see it be a DQ again, but I would like for Cena to attempt it, to slap the referee, and the referee's like, no, I'm not. That'd be stupid to disqualify you for that. And then Randy hits an RKO. It would be just a cool sequence of events. But
they cut to the video board of that spot. And they go, no, we saw this happen before. Well, that was the other part, was that match in 08 was not the main event. That's what differs from this. The main event of that night was the Elimination Chamber to get a spot at WrestleMania. So, or win the world title. I'm not really, I can't really remember which one.
They all blend together.
But this is undoubtedly, especially with the card, even if Jey Uso and Logan Paul are on this card somehow, this is the main event, Cena Orton. So you're not doing a DQ finish. But again, this is where I get nutty. If you want to lean into Cena saying, I'm going to ruin wrestling, and you want Cena to be hated, have Cena get DQ'd on purpose to piss off the St. Louis crowd that's there for Orton. Lean into it. What do you have to lose? Because as soon as the press you already said what the press conference is going to say. We've done a great gate. Cena didn't do what we wanted to do, but look, it's his run. What are you going to do?
It's all about the story. You guys just got to be along for the ride. Quit complaining.
Does it feel like WrestleMania season yet?
Yeah, right. So, is whatever. But
not your traditional Backlash.
Oh man, do we get another Travis Scott appearance on this one?
As long as it's an actual run-in, that'd be great. I don't want to see a walk-in run-in or a crawl-in. That's not what this is.
Or, because The Rock saw all that backlash, you know what I'm saying?
The Rock loves showing up at pay-per-views he's not announced for, nor people expect.
Well, he sees all the backlash he's gotten online, the people that are complaining about him, and The Rock cares very much about his public image. So does he show up here to kind of almost make amends for his lack of WrestleMania?
St. Louis gets The Rock. Las Vegas doesn't
Backlash
get it. And Las Vegas had the shirts made, which is insane. You don't do that. In 2025, you have made to order shirts. I'm sorry. If you really thought, if you thought it was iffy, you don't print the shirt. You print the shirt once he's there and you make whatever. But
Swerve, bro.
You can't have
Swerve.
Okay. Hey, as this day, we're recording this on the 25th anniversary of, quite honestly, the biggest swerve in the history of pro wrestling. Do you know what that is?
25th anniversary?
May 7th, 2000, Kemper Arena.
That date sounds familiar for some reason. 2000.
Yep.
That's all I
Kemper
know.
Arena.
Is this WCW?
Yes, it is. Would it be anything else?
I'm not my knowledge on 2000 WCW isn't very vast, so please tell me. Oh wait,
One.
hold on. David Arquette,
Oh, what about him?
did he win the title?
No.
Oh no. All right.
Bigger than that.
Please tell me.
David Arquette turned heel on DDP, hit him with a guitar so Jeff Jarrett could walk out of Slamboree, the triple Ready to Rumble cage as world champion.
I
So
hate it, man. I hate it.
you thought he won the title on Thunder, a more prominent, more watched show.
Jeez Louise, man. No, he won the title.
Yeah.
No, he helped Jimmy King win the title. Sorry, I thought he won it at
I
somewhere
almost
else.
bought that on DVD the other day, but then I thought at some point they got to release a Blu-ray, so I'm not wasting my money on this.
Well, it's free on YouTube if you're really hankering to watch it. So
I want to own it though.
burn it.
Big
Do a
physical,
disc.
big physical media guy.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I'd be there to support it. Give me some extra features like David Arquette 25 years later. Why was it such a huge mistake? Give me some
like
interesting commentaries and stuff. So that's where I am on this.
I
but
support it.
in regards to Cena Orton, to get back to this, Cody has not been seen since WrestleMania. And, leading up to this coming year, all the last year-ish with Orton kind of being out and then coming back and Cody having the title reign and it, maybe being stale. People have been saying, well, when's this Cody Orton match going to happen? Could we see Cody, whether it happens at this show or not, or this match or not, could we see Cody cost Randy in a way that Finn and Dom we discussed, where Cody wants to help Randy, but it backfires. Orton's pissed, and you get that Orton Cody with a story that's already there? Or are we waiting for Cody Orton to happen when the title's on the line? What say you? Because we haven't seen Cody since WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a Cody Orton needs a title. I don't think that feud needs a title.
I agree.
Man, have Travis Scott come out there. It's 2-on-1 against Orton. Cody Rhodes comes out to even the odds, takes out Travis Scott, swings a chair at John Cena, but then hits Randy. And then, I mean, time-tested story right there. So I would support that. It would, let Cena kind of go along his own path for a while while Cody's preoccupied with Orton. Then maybe even circle back. I guess if Cena's done in December, maybe circle back in December, or maybe like sometime before that. I don't know.
That's another question. Do you think Cody's the guy to get it back from Cena? I know this is real ahead of the time, but
yeah, I think he's got to be. I think he's got to get his revenge.
Because it elevates Cody again, even if he didn't need it. But it would be like, all right, you might have lost to Cena, but you were the guy that took him out, at the end.
Right. Yeah. So I think Cody is, I'm not really breaking any new ground here, but Cody is the guy. So I feel like he's a guy you can always get that title back on and do whatever with him after that. But yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, Cody Orton is something I haven't really thought about like in this time frame, but I think that makes a lot of sense. I think there's a lot of ways you can get there through this. And like, what is Orton going to be doing after this as well? Like, I wouldn't venture to guess that Orton and Cena are going to have like a series of matches. I mean, this is being billed last time, but how often do they not follow through with that? But no, I like your thinking. I think that's pretty much. I could definitely see it going that way.
So let's say Cody doesn't show up though in this match, and it's just Cena wins. I cannot say Cena's going to win clean for the duration of this reign, because if you're not doing that, what is the point of having him not just be a heel, but him saying, I'm going to ruin wrestling? That means I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to keep this title, and you hate it. Now, I know it's extreme for him to do the thing I said with, the no DQ, or the slap the DQ, but finding ways to cheat to win would be helping that. So I don't see him pinning Orton clean. So if that's the case, then I guess, what does Orton do after that? That's why I think you got to have something for Orton after. Because you get the Joe Hendry of it all, and people are like, what the hell is this? It was supposed to be KO. And if KO was supposed to be the plan. I still think this was the match anyway for Backlash. So
Yeah.
who knows if they would have gone back to KO and Orton after this. So without all that, it's kind of Orton solo. That's where not solo Sikoa, but I think that's where you could it be Cody or maybe there's someone else that I'm not thinking of. Other than that, does Orton just go away in obscurity if he doesn't win this title? Because I don't think he will. He'll get a good ovation from the crowd after the show, I'm sure. But
Yeah. Yeah, Orton at this stage of his career, he could easily just like take a few months off and come back and have a match. So like, who knows? I mean, yeah, they got a big roster, and like especially if they do a draft or something and shake things up, like who knows? But I don't see him going for like the U.S. title or anything like that. But I think Orton Cody is probably the most compelling path for both of those two. So that's something I'd like to see.
And so the rumor was, Cena and Travis Scott versus Cody and Bad Bunny, if that were to be a thing. That would lead me to believe let's say that is a thing, that would lead me to believe that Cody would come out here and, potentially help, and maybe it pisses Orton off to where that you revisit that down the line. Let's say none of that happens. Cena wins, even if Cody's involved. Okay, then Cody's involved with Orton after the fact. What's next for Cena? When would he defend that next? I don't think Money in the Bank is in the cards. I would wager that Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia would be, and that's where you could get some. You're not going to get Punk, but you're going to get something big. If Cena's going to go there and wrestle. And if he doesn't wrestle there, what is that? SummerSlam then? So what's next for Cena after this, you think?
I mean, it would be cool to see Cena and Punk on Money in the Bank again.
That would be dope. I didn't even think about it like that, because you could do that and then he could skip Night of Champions. But
yeah,
Night of Champions is where you defend the title. That's why I think he'd almost skip Money in the Bank. But I don't think Punk's going to Saudi Arabia.
Oh, are they still doing like the champion versus champion thing in Saudi? So would it be him and Jay?
Whoa.
Or whoever?
Well, Cena Jay. I'd take Cena, Logan, and Paul, champion versus champion. Everybody would hate that match. That'd be fire, though. I'd love that. But everybody would be like, God, get this out of here. I forgot about that they do that. Huh.
Assuming they're going to do that again with those big, goofy titles again.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
no,
No.
That was the Crown Jewel champion where it was 1-on-1. No,
is that not what Saudi's going to be?
It's Night of Champions.
Wait, that was King of the Ring, wasn't it? Night of Champions.
It was, but I don't think they're doing it because they are not because they're doing Crown Jewel in Perth, and Royal Rumble was in Saudi next year. So they're not doing King of the Ring, I don't think. Because that's crazy. I forgot all about the Crown Jewel champion, and that's where that was. Let's see. I'm gonna look up.
I mean, there's Punk. Like, who else could see that face?
Crown Jewel, King of the Ring, 2024. Yeah, so they had November was the last Crown Jewel. They'll do Saudi Arabia again in June, and then I don't think they'll do it again until Rumble, because I know they said 2 times a year, but it's January. Kind of finagle that in there.
I guess it fits.
I don't know.
Is it like
Crown Jewel champion was champion versus champion. I just saw that.
Right.
So what was Night of Champions? What was that? Wouldn't it be funny if it was the same thing?
Saudi could also be that like Bad Bunny, like whatever Travis Scott match too.
Yeah, I hope not though. Because that's a huge deal to have to. I don't think you need to sell the tickets for it, but I think that's a Money in the Bank match. Additionally, with Roman or not Roman. Well, maybe Roman's not back yet, but Sammy and Punk versus Braun and Seth. But that could be Saturday night's main event. This is the problem with having pseudo PLEs in the middle of all this stuff. Night of Champions, the last one they did was 2023, and that had the inaugural World Heavyweight title final.
Right.
And then it had the Bloodline, Roman and Solo versus KO and Sammy for the tag titles. So it was pretty much just every title's on the line outside of Brock and Cody. I think that's the last time we saw Brock as well. But that was 2023.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I don't know. That makes it a lot more interesting with Cena because now I have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, no, I mean it's up in the air. I mean the unpredictability is, to me, it's a good thing. So,
It always is. I agree.
but unless Orton wins, huh? We didn't talk about that. He's not
We
winning.
didn't. There's no way. I don't think there's any way.
No, I think that's my. If there's any match on this card that I'm rock solid on, it's Cena winning this one.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I don't know, clean, unclean. He's just gonna win. I don't think there's a way that again, unless they pull the trigger on No Way Out '08, which would piss off a lot of people other than me because I would have been the guy that had the foresight to call that. I don't see it. So I think we're pretty much across the board on what we think is going to happen here. All 5 matches.
Man,
pretty boring.
I mean, I could change something if you want me to, but
no. Because look, the best part is that what if every match is wrong? Then we were 0-5, but that's a hell of a card with Penta winning, someone else walking out U.S. champion, Lyra retaining, Becky falling into obscurity, Pat McAfee getting a win over Gunther, and Orton winning the title. That'd be a hell of a night.
It would be something. You're not wrong about that. It would get the people talking. Wow. Bet you didn't see that coming, huh?
That'd be a hell of a press conference. Him going, I bet you didn't think any of those things were going to happen, did you?
Talk about a backlash, huh, guys? Well,
remember when people hated Backlash? WrestleMania Light, that's what they used to call it.
Oh, Paul. Gotta love
so
it.
Overall, man, Backlash 2025 tomorrow night. It's not. Finally, we're not getting one in France, or it's a normal 7:00. Now, that's not to say I don't like those, but I finally get these.
Enough of those foreigners getting these pay-per-views back on U.S. soil.
Oh no!
Don't tread on me. Or whatever.
I'm talking purely from a visual viewer standpoint because, hey, I work on Saturdays, so I need to be home in time to watch this damn thing. And I'm going to WWE night, so I'm going to be yeeting at the Pirate game at 4:00, just enough in time to be here for the 7:00 start. So I'm geared up for Backlash. How about you? Just overall, the card as a whole. How do you look at this 20th edition of Backlash?
Yeah, no, it's pretty early start time. Easy breezy 5 match card.
Yeah.
Some fun stuff on here. There's some matches I'm looking forward to. There's some weird things on that. I think it's going to be a comfy watch. I think it's going to be an easy watch. And just one of the several PLEs in the next month, or major shows, or whatever the hell. So, no, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun show. Backlash is, it can be hit or... There's been some backlashes that I've really liked over the years. So, but I think this one's going to hit.
Yeah, Puerto Rico, the international ones did hit, so maybe domestically this will not be as good because it's tough to top the France crowd, and the Puerto Rico one was insane.
That Bad Bunny Damian Priest is like a top 10 match for me all the time.
Entrance is something else, man. That's where I really started to realize they keep playing with these drones, man. They keep going. Kevin Dunn could not do what the drones do. So
yeah.
And they're doing it now with pretty much every show. They have the drones. And I'm also glad, just to fast forward, the Money in the Bank PLE is going to be in the Intuit Dome. So finally, it's only been 6 months. But since that first episode of Raw on Netflix where they had the sick new building, now we get to see it for a PLE. And I think they're going to go all out for it. So I'm hyped for that. I'm hyped for Backlash, man. As always, it's great to talk to you about old school wrestling, but I think this is a nice little avenue to discuss current wrestling with you and let everybody at home where they can find the Apron Bump.
Well, if you'd like to hear about old wrestling, check out the Apron Bump podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as YouTube. I've had Juice on several times. We've, my latest episode, Great American Bash from WCW 1997. We had a whole hoot and a holler talking about that show. So go check that out, if nothing else. Dip your toes in the Apron Bump. and check out all this. If you like that era of wrestling, I've covered everything from '94 up until that point. I do the golden eras of TNA, Ring of Honor, Progress Wrestling, Attitude Era, Ruthless. I cover a whole buffet of wrestling over there. So give her a check out. Ski, follow me, poke me, cuddle me, choke me, and yeah, that's about all I got. I think. Sorry, this fell into a hole there.
I was going to say, this is the Juice Box, not the podcast with your significant other. But
I'll stick a straw in you.
Little Apron Bump after dark.
Oh, hello. Turn off the lights. Lights out. DDP Macho Man.
At Apron Bump, though, on Twitter, no?
Yes, at Apron Bump on all the socials, I think. I don't know. Probably.
The Apron Bump is the hardest part of the ring, but it's the easiest podcast to listen to. Appreciate you coming on the Juice Box, brother. And I hope everybody, especially you, Apron Bump, enjoy Backlash 2025 happening tomorrow night from St. Louis, under the arch, over the arch, whatever the hell. It's a big monument. For the Apron Bump, I am Juice Springsteen, and I hope you guys enjoy your weekend and visit us next time for another rousing edition of the Juice Box. That was the Juice Box with Juice Springsteen. Make sure to subscribe to the Juice Box wherever you listen to podcasts.